So, hello and welcome to another session of Mountain Home, which is a Forged in the Dark game of dwarven settlement building. We are here in March. We're at the end of I think next week will be the end of the first arc, or the week after. I think next week actually, and then we'll be doing a second quarterly arc with this group because we're enjoying it so much, and because this is a game that definitely has legs and definitely has room to breathe, and the players would like to build up their settlement. Like it's exciting to do in a way that maybe crew building and other Forged in the Dark games or spaceship building or whatever isn't quite as compelling. I think this does a really good job with that. My name is Lowell, pronouns he, him. We are using lines and veils and the X card and open door policy. These are all things that we've established with the group. And last time we left off, I believe that we did experience. And did we do the trade roll? I believe last time. Did we not do the trade roll? Okay. In that case, I'm going to turn to that page in the settlement phase here. Okay. End of the year. Okay. You are not at war with anyone at this point, at this moment, but you are close to it with one group. You have been
The monkeys?
well, there's you're at this moment not isolated by wilderness or dangerous paths. You are leveraging your active trade deals, and I believe you get an extra die for your merchants, your tavern, right?
No, let's see. The Merchant Guild is going to give us a chance at a second trade roll.
Okay.
Which I was going to discuss with folks a little quick on that. I did want to ask, I don't think we actually have the infirmary. It doesn't make a difference, I don't think, but I don't think we used it because I think we got me completely healed with the 10 action from the brewery.
Right, because we had just built it this time, so we weren't sure if we could use it.
Right.
True. Okay. So do we have the farm we just built?
You will have it for the next year, not for this resolution. Not for this resolution, yeah.
Okay. So in that case, there won't be a good reason for us to do a second trade roll.
Okay.
We have the Jewel Crafter.
Yeah, but the Jewel Crafter just gives money.
It's also a trade building. It would be a one-die trade building, but...
Oh, okay. Right, because it would be -1 from the tier of the settlement, which is 2 now. So it'd be a 1.
-1 from the level of the building, which is 2.
From the level of the building, which would be a 1. Okay, so there is a good reason to use it. The Merchant Guild.
Yeah, or we could get 3 dice on a singular roll.
Yeah. Now, so right now we're looking at this trade. What do you have in your vault right now?
Treasure? None.
Okay. So let's do the first trade roll, which is going to be you rolling with your tier 2, an active die 3. Would you please roll with 4 dice?
Ooh. Is this our Ironworks?
Yes. Who's rolling?
Doesn't matter.
I'll roll real quick then. Let's see. 4 dice. Wow. Roll it. Oh, I rolled D10s. I'm so sorry.
We got a 9.
Yeah.
Oops. 2, 3, 4. There we go. We got a 6.
Okay. So you will get a 3 treasure.
Nice.
If you wish to activate the Merchant's Guild. Let's see, do you have other goods to sell?
We have the Jewel Crafter.
The question then comes in.
We
can only activate
it. Where is the Jewel Crafter?
We're in the gem cluster.
Oh, it's down there. That's right. Yeah.
Okay. The question comes in. We can only use it for one thing, I believe.
Mhm.
We can't use it for trade and for its generation of one treasure on its own.
No, either use is going to tick off the box.
So if we roll on a tier 1 lol and fail, that's a 0 amount of treasure, right?
So right now you would be still rolling with your tier, which is 2, plus the base. That's not a base die. I just realized that you're right about that. So it'd be 2 plus 1 for active trade deals. So you'd be rolling with 3 dice. And if you rolled a 1 to 3, you'd be just getting a treasure. So
that makes that building kind of weird. Why would you ever just take the one treasure from it?
Because you don't have extra trade, or you have better trade.
Right.
Or you don't have a second trade roll.
Right.
Right.
Or you're isolated, or you have other factors that are working against you.
Okay. Well, then it does sound like a roll there is the better
someone
choice.
Roll me 3 dice.
Yep, somebody else.
Well, doesn't seem to be the one that understood how it all worked. I just have my name on the building, but
I also got a 6.
Okay.
Yay!
So
always better when I don't roll.
That would be another 3 treasure then for you.
Now we're full.
Yes. Jewels and iron sent out into the world there as you conduct your trade. And we will roll into this. I think this is year 6 that we are starting for your settlement here.
Yes.
And you will certainly hear that there are some movements going on amongst the other factions. We'll talk about what those look like. I want to give us a chance so that we can do some called scenes, and then I'll talk about one of the entanglements and what it means, and then I'll talk about what else is going on the table. And of course, the Monkey King is still an issue out there. So let's start with.
I will also, Lowell, I'm sorry, but at the end of last session, you did say, remind me of the discovery roll if I don't mention it at the top of the thing.
Okay.
And I'm just reminding you that you said
it. Let me do that. Come back to me after the break on that, so I have a chance to go and look at that again. Okay.
Because we're full up.
Right. I do need to pause here to shut the door because I'm getting a little bit of echo. So hang on 1 second.
I'm a big nerd and re-listened to our last episode as I was getting it driving home. So it's
really?
very
Did you
fresh.
Enjoy it?
Oh, it was good. I'd listened to it twice because I listened to it before the one we didn't have last week. It was really good. We were on point. We're very good role players.
Thank you, Tyler. I think you're right. Look at all these awesome people that are here with us.
We did do advancement, though. We did do XP last time, right? Okay. I just want to make sure on that. So let's start with Tolan. Tolan, here we are. First part of the year after the year turned. Yeah, last year was a tense one. The settlement got larger. You added in some new people. There was a question of food, but your laborers guild certainly came through in a pinch, and you have built that second farm. So I want to give you a chance to call a scene, either with an NPC or a PC here, sort of to set things up.
So this may or may not be relevant, so I'll go ahead and I did take a new move, Master Brewer.
Okay.
And one of the things that it involves is like take +1 result level for downtime actions involving brews. Contains an existing additional usage. I cannot talk today. And begin with one special brew recipe that you negotiate with the GM.
Interesting.
And I was thinking, narratively, it's mead from all those bees I've been collecting that have found their way into a tunnel and have been like gathering pollen from those weird underground plants we found.
Okay. So let's look at let me see if I can find the.
So they're like dwarven bees. They go,
yeah,
underground.
Cave bees.
Cave
or at least
bees,
partially.
possibly.
I don't know if they probably do live in the cave, but I was thinking, and then I was thinking, what effect do I want to go with that? And I don't know, I'm kind of learning, like, I don't know how this would work mechanically, but basically something akin to speak with animals.
Okay.
Would be cool.
Yeah, let me find the page with the stuff on brewing here. Which, of course, there's tables, smithing techniques. Okay. Here we go. Brews. So let's see if there's something that would be sort of equivalent to that. Well, I think that they have
allows you to summon ghosts.
Yeah, to speak with ghosts. Is it just a tier 2? So
although actually that might be pretty cool too.
Yeah, I think that feels like you just want to be able to communicate with the animals. Like, or do you want to be able to understand them, or do you want to be able to speak with them?
Good question. I think I want to be able to understand them.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be like make them talk.
Yeah, let's say that is a tier 2 brew that you will have the secret. What is that particular hearty mead called?
Oh, what was the plant called? I don't remember. Do we know a name for it?
Oh gosh. Go back.
Glimmer petal.
That's right. Thank you.
Yeah, so maybe this is like maybe it's just glimmer mead.
Okay.
Or glimmer tongue mead.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
So yeah, you have
this was definitely a conversation between Talon and Dagriel and Dagriel.
Yeah.
You can't just come on, that's boring.
Yeah.
Or we should call it
really
Dagriels.
I mean,
glimmer tongue mead.
That definitely means it makes your tongue like glow or sparkle, right?
Doesn't it? Yes.
Absolutely. Little phosphorescence from the pollen and the
side effect inside your mouth. It's like if you eat a blue popsicle.
Yeah.
only glowier. So
yep.
Yeah. So you will have this brew that you have come up with from the bees and the honey there. And what is it? Does it taste like your standard sort of sweet mead, or is it a different flavor to it?
I think it tastes more like obviously alcoholic, but which is funny because it doesn't get you any drunker.
Okay. So it tastes a little bit stronger, but it isn't. Has a kind of a wild taste to it. All right, I like that very much. Grunheld.
Yes, I think I would be interested in perhaps asking Parander if he would like to accompany me to the inn to have drinks and conversation.
He will say, "Is that right?"
What do you mean?
I mean, aren't you the High Counselor, and I am just a
Parander, we don't have such formalized differences. We are. It would be very lonely if we could only talk amongst ourselves. Believe me, I don't just want to talk with the founders.
all right, all right. Yeah. Oh, that is fine. If you so command, I will go with you.
It is not a command, Paradigm. It's a request. It is a chance to become closer friends.
So if you so request, then yes.
Well, good. And so, we'll walk and talk, and I think that our conversation there sort of points out a little of what I was wanting to talk with you about. Are you and your people settling in well?
We are settling in. There are differences that are distinctive. There is a hugger mugger to the way that you and your dwarves operate that is different. We are used to seeing authority as emanating from above and coming down and knowing who to report to and who to command. That is less certain here. And even when we do think that we know who is in charge or who is to be told what to do, amongst your people, that changes like the wind. Like the next day, it would be a different thing. And I was considered a flexible liberal in some ways amongst my people, and even I am having a hard time adjusting to the. I don't want to say chaos.
Well, I at least I understand a little. Even compared to our old home, things are a bit looser here. We arrived as very few, and everyone had to take a certain ownership of the home. It gives a feeling that we're all in it together. But is this something that your people? Is it bringing you distress? Is there some way I could help ease this transition?
I do not imagine so. In a not to the latter part of your question, but to the former, we will adjust. We understand duty, and we understand that we have come here and made demands of you and yours.
We were happy to have you come. It did not feel like demands. It felt like welcoming family home. Please, though, if you or any of your people are having trouble, obviously, your head, the founder from your clan, you please feel free to come to me, and I'll do whatever I can to make this a comfortable place that feels like your home as well.
I've begun to realize that part of the problem is, stop, is that you keep saying family, and it doesn't mean the same thing to me that it does to you. That you are not saying the way that I thought it was. I think what you would be saying, family, we say blood. And there is a difference.
For many of us, when we left our home, those that were our kin stayed behind. For us, it was creating a new sense of kin. Our guilds filled some of that spot, but there was also the fact of the toil we did together, bringing us into a state that felt like kinship. I sometimes wonder and even worry that as we grow, that may change.
You rely on an ephemera.
Perhaps you're correct. Well,
I will do my best to adapt.
As will I. Well, please, no. We're here. You must try some of these brews we make right here, and a few.
Anything but the glimmer tongue.
Yeah. Yes, it's.
It does not agree with me.
I understand.
Why? We are a people with a certain blood tied to the elements, and this, it does not agree with me.
Then you should try, and I'll start handing other things.
Okay.
And we'll.
Dawson, what about you? What would you like for your scene here?
So just to a meta thing here is I noticed that the Sarku controlling spirit fonts things filled up.
Mm-hmm.
And I was wondering if that was like, is that an event or a ritual? Is that something I could go visit or see?
Yeah, I think that let's do that. I think having that out there, it's certainly one of the things you would be informed on, and you would have word sent down to you that certainly you and others are from Rengzu are welcome to come to witness the rituals for the manifestation of those fonts, and they would allow you to come up there.
I think for one, I think Dawson is sort of starting to see Fishbanina as like a good luck charm.
Okay.
So, because she's sort of in a mode with the guild, and I mean, she found that amazing place. I mean, there must be something blessed about her. So I think I'm sort of dragging her along. But Ethan, do you think Tolan would want to go?
Oh yeah, Tolan would be all over that.
And the group of you will head up the mountain up to some of the ranges. You will see that along the way there are structures that have been built at different places. They're like shrines, but they're kind of enclosed at the ground level and open topped. They have no doorways in, so they're very much for these folk who can kind of fly down into them. It would require for any of you to get into them to actually like climb up and drop down in. But they will take you up to the highest peak. And this is a trek like you haven't had to do before. The Tengu help you, but it is still, there are some spots where you have to essentially be hauled up some sheer cliff sides. kind of hang on with your hands and things, and look down at the valley spread out below you. See the glint of the light hitting the river.
I think Dawson is like just doing anything to avoid looking down, and is so like going down philosophical loopholes of like, would it even technically still be considered a mountain this high up? Shouldn't there be some other term for something that's this unnaturally removed from the ground, but part of the ground, I suppose? It's just on and on, like just babbling, trying not to pay attention.
And then you hit the cloud, because don't forget, this mountain is high enough that you actually break the clouds, and I think it is like where the air gets thin for you.
Surely this is a natural borderland. This must definitely not be considered a mountain anymore.
But it is like climbing up through fog and mist and so on. And just as kind of night is falling, you will make it to the top here. And there is a break, and there is a kind of larger a space there where they have another one of these shrines. You haven't really seen any of the like Sarku, the Tengu settlements. You haven't seen any houses or buildings or things like that. It strikes you that the only one you've seen has been your friend, Renku, Rengzu, but you haven't seen that. But here at the top, there are about 100 Tengu. And you can see that there are different groups of them, and there are clearly that 3 or 4 of these groups are from other places. Like they've come here for this. They're in different clothing and things like that. You can kind of pick out the Tengu that are of your mountain there, the colors that they wear, the beads and the markings that they have on them, and the young ones that are kind of at the back lounging around like, oh good, because as you can see, as you look around at the Tengu, all of the young Tengu look like they've got a chip on their shoulder, like they are just kind of too cool for school here, and the older Tengu are very, very clearly just ignoring them on that. But the other thing is, you have never seen the stars and the moon like this. Because when you get to the top of this, you look up and it's as if you could reach up and touch the closest moon. Like if you had a ladder, you could climb up. Like that's that feeling that you've got there. It's just hanging above. And the Tengu will get there. There is a bit where they've kind of got some spots in the rock that are seats, kind of, that have like almost kind of bracing that they direct you to, because there's a lot of looking up here. And Rengsu says, you're going to want to sit and hang on, so that you don't fall upwards.
No, I was very emphatically assured by Dagriel over and over again that was actually impossible. That's not how. No.
And they will like he will actually kind of show you how to tie yourself down.
Dawson will begin.
Alan is very excited about this. Like, This seems cool. I don't know what's going to happen, but it's going to be interesting.
Dawson is like muttering stone speak as he is sinking his like feet and hands into the stone so it can't pull him out.
And there is a set of ritual invocations. You will see a number of the Tengu take off into the sky and begin flying in circles. And then there will be a change. You know how at night when you see light, how light kind of blinds you from seeing the stars? Imagine that you are seeing light emerging from this spirit shrine, but you can still see the stars still perfectly. It's not doing any kind of that night blindness. And you will see lines of what must be the other sort of excess of the power from the mountain that winds its way up to here and serpentines together here. And you will see in the far, far distance, like other mountains echoing, like responding in kind. You'll see other colors in the distances. You guess that some of them must be just the mountains themselves, and in some cases it must be other Tengu settlements and so on. But you will see that, and then you'll see the rocks start to lift up, the loose rocks start to rise up. And you will see all of the Tengu lift into the air and the rocks start flying, and you will see the Tengu fly up. And you will see there is this moment where you see them turn, and you will see a group of them land on the moon. And you will see them quickly going and moving and gathering things. And then they gather themselves back together and they fly back down this column of light, back down to the ground there. And you can see that when they kind of land back down, that's when the rock started to settle, and you felt yourself being lifted up. You felt like literally if you had let yourself go, you would have flown up into the sky.
Just incoherent squeaking from Dawson at that point, which he will furiously deny.
Right.
This would have been really useful on the way up here.
And they will land. You can see that they have various, some of them have bags and things and stuff. They've clearly gathered some things from up on the moon. And Rengzu will land. There will be a sort of a finishing to the ceremony. And he will come back to where the two of you are, and he will hand you both two large stopper jugs.
Yes, it
Thank you.
Yes, we'll have you rest here for a bit. There's going to be some storytelling that will happen into the wee hours, and then I will give you a draught to put you to sleep, and we will fly you down, so that you do not have to climb back down.
what? No, what?
That sounds wonderful. That's I think my friend here is
I know.
this is all new to him.
Yes.
I mean, it's new to me too, but it's
and it's a few hours of talking, of them telling stories of different things. It does make you eventually dozy, and then Rengzu will come over with a cup, with a silver cup, and instruct you to drink. Will you drink, Dawson?
Gonna wait and see if Talon, dies or starts floating or something.
Talon? Do you drink it? He'll say, if you do not wish to
awake for this.
If you wish to be
I ask
awake, you can be. You have to promise me that you will not squirm.
Of course, yes. I will not.
Okay.
In that case, Dozen drinks Tollins too.
you're that kind of like when you go to the to have a surgical procedure where you're counting back to 10, you've got the first one down and you're just starting the second one and it goes right down your face. So Fish Benita does not drink either. And they will get the two strongest, biggest Tengu that are here, like clearly warrior caste Tengu. And they will come and grab and pick you each up. And Rengsu will carry Fish Benina because she is just a mere slip of a lass. And they will fly you down. And it is fast and it is like falling, and then you're through the clouds, and then you're plummeting down, and they're catching the thermals and going back and forth, and then Dawson comes past and you hear and then on down, and they will land you on that great stone sort of walkway that leads up to Carrick Minor. They'll set you down there, and Fish Benina's eyes, like, they haven't closed at all in this. And those two will take off, and Rungsu will say, I have given you each a great thing. You may decide what you wish to do with it. There are many possibilities, but you will have to figure them out for yourself. But that is moon milk. It is the milk of the moon itself in those vessels.
Are there cattle on the moon or goats? Or is
It is moon milk. It behaves like milk. You can do things with it like you would do with milk. You could make cheese. You could make curds and whey. You could ferment it. It is up to you. You could put it on your dwarven roonies in the morning. So it is potent, though.
We'll use it wisely. I'll have to consider this.
It may be a bit before Dawson wakes up, given that he slammed back a little bit more than he should have there.
I see that. And I think, like, Talon not only did not squirm, but like really it's still kind of just rigid. Like,
you can,
and not at all admitting that was terrifying. But
yeah.
After Dawson eventually wakes up, if you try and talk about the flight down at all, he will begin loudly talking about how nice it was of the mountain to bring us down here without ever leaving the ground. Thank you.
So these jugs contain something called moon milk.
Are there goats on the moon?
That's what I asked. Apparently, no. That's not a metaphor. Anyway, it comes apparently directly from the moon. Like maybe they have wells there. I am not sure what properties it has, but apparently it can be used like milk. But I don't know what.
It is very funky milk. If you've had like sheep's milk or goat's milk or things, kind of gotten a whiff of that, it's very funky.
I'm sure we
could use a little work.
Familiar with goat's milk. This is like, maybe there are goats on the moon. Maybe he was just he was just messing with us.
Dagriel, what is your reaction when you hear about all of this?
I don't immediately call vendetta on Dawson for not inviting me. No, instead I begin my slow, methodical plans for vengeance. And that, that's an aside for some other time.
Fair enough.
Yeah, no, I think what I do is I probably, particularly upon hearing that I've been left behind, I think I probably will go and get Saruke and say, we need to write the story, the history, the just past history of your exodus here and the reasons. We'll write a anodyne, safe history for general readers, but we need the true story to put in our archives.
Oh, that sounds great. That
Yes.
sounds really amazing. What does anodyne mean?
It means it won't bother anyone. Because as I understand it, there's some semi-powerful people that were behind that. We didn't want to give them a reason explicitly.
Redacted. Okay, I got it.
Yeah, that's right. Words carefully chosen to be as drab as possible.
She will say, I've got no problem putting together the history of, preferably from sort of when we left to our travels here. Does that sound reasonable?
Certainly.
And what is the most interesting place or tale that she has for you of the journey from the east to here?
I think the thing that's striking was that there was one point at which they had to strike a bargain with like these crocodile people, talking crocodiles. It's like it was a mix of crocodile people and talking crocodiles, and essentially trade them some words that the crocodiles didn't already know in order to get downriver past a set of sort of swamp areas and weird currents and things that they otherwise couldn't. And there's in that story of it being like 5 days riding on gigantic crocodiles.
The other thing that you'll get that's sort of odd from that sort of discussion that Saruke gives you is, she says, the weirdest thing about these crocodiles is they believe that they own the world.
Really?
They believe that they are the most numerous and distributed of the peoples all across the world.
Interesting. Are they in contact with the other crocodilian people? Is that what they call crocodilian?
It's strange. I don't think they have a god, but I think they have a powerful leader somewhere. That was the impression that I got. But it was strange. They said there were many different kinds of their people, crocodiles and alligators and such.
I'll have to make a note of that.
They were very polite, but they did warn us to not fall in the water near them.
Feeding instinct. So yes.
That was my impression.
I mean, I've only seen them from afar. And yeah, I think we do that, and we kind of go back and I remind them that this is a story for the ones who were too young that traveled here to understand what had happened, and so that they had this to help them remember, but also for the generations that come after. So just very interested to see what Saruke chooses to tell.
All right. And she will lay that out for you. She has a certain interest in terms of safety and security and stabbing that
Mhm.
seem to be high on her priority list, but I will get her to focus in on a wider range of topics.
Interesting. Okay. And it is a great experience because it's the first time I've gotten to write a history where I could ask questions of, all these things. So this is excellent. I'm making sure that it is the history that I would want to read.
Okay.
Like, what did they eat? So
So you will have in these first few months of the year, as winter changes to spring, you will get word. Certainly, the first word that you've gotten, is this tale of the Sarku sodality of them having claimed and controlled the spirit fonts on the mountain. You will also be told by scouts and people who have traveled out that area that those lands that are marked out with those crystal borders, those human spellcasters, that they have moved those further out, that they have extended the bounds of their land. And certainly scouts have seen that there are more of them. And so they have increased their size. The gnomes, it's still unclear what they're involved in. They have pulled back to their holds and are clearly engaged in some kind of spell ceremony or ritual that they've been working on from last year to this year that they are still in the process of carrying out. The elves still, like, each time they get one tick closer to that clock and make almost no progress. The Ashclaw sisters, the Knolls, have been working to resettle their people into those higher up caves. They are almost done with that. They hope to finish that this year. You've assisted them in that process, and it should give them a little more safety and security. And you will know that the centaurs at the Quranic Duchy, they have gone through some reorganization. They're the group that's more towards the center of the valley, probably the furthest away from you in some ways. But what you'll hear is that they have taken hold of several of the villages and locations that they were given grants from. They called in old claims. You heard about that. But the one thing about that you will hear is this. At about the midpoint between your colony, your settlement, and the old stronghold, about halfway along that journey, there is a river that passes through there, and there's an old ancient stone bridge that's been overseen by a small village that's there that has taken modest tolls. And it's simply called the Spont. And what you will hear is that the Quranic Duchy have taken that over, and they have brought in their engineering corps and people, and they are building on sort of the bounds of the old city and fortifications, the ruins that are there. They are building a fort there of significant size and power. And your tradespeople will tell you that they are causing problems. They are essentially, while this is going on, they are directing trade in other directions. That if you're trying to trade with your homeland, as you generally do, and that's a big portion of your trade contacts, so that is a problem that is going to cost you this year a die off your trade rolls unless it is dealt with. Just that is out there as an issue. That's one of the sort of the broader world things. And of course, those fucking monkeys are still out there. But we're going to take our break. We're going to take our first break, take 10. We're going to come back and I'm going to tell you about something more positive that has occurred that we're going to kind of collaborate on figuring out exactly how it works. So we'll talk about that. Let's take 10 and we'll come back. So as I did mention to Sherry during the break, I do imagine that Fishbane Nina goes back and tells Dagriel everything that happened and then sits down and goes to write her own book, like gets paper and with big block goblin printing her version of the story. She does tell Dagriel, she goes, yeah, so, and then they like told us to strap in and then everybody flew up and they told us to stay there. And I was gonna unstrap myself and fly, but Dawson looked scared, so I didn't want to leave him.
I'm sorry that you had to make that choice.
I just worry about him sometimes.
I understand.
So the other thing that happens is twofold. Let's start with the discovery thing, and then we'll come to the entanglement thing. Dawson, since you were kind of the person who pushed me on the discovery thing, in the explorations, in the clearing out of things as they went down into the jewel craft area where the Dagriel Memorial Infirmary, and then down below to the brilliant facets of Dagriel, and that when they got down there, they opened up a spot and they found a set of trade goods that are potentially worth 3 treasure if the right buyer is found. What are these trade goods, Dawson? Old things from old Carrick Minor.
Yeah, I think yeah, what it is it's these like shaped pieces of obsidian, like lava glass,
Mm-hmm.
but somehow impossibly like bright streaks of gems, jewels have been like melted and stretched through them, maybe as they're forming, and it's, that's not how gemstones work, but somehow it is in these, and they're like pieces of body jewelry, I think.
Yeah, this is
Not quite
clearly
rings and stuff, but like, different places.
a cache that doesn't look like a funereal cache, but either a merchant or someone's dowry that was put away or someone's collection of jewelry. It's hard to say. The rest of the site is in like not very well taken care of. Things have collapsed here, but that will be a big, 3 treasure. That's like the income for all your trade for a year. So these things are very valuable, and it's out there for the founders to decide what they want to do with them. And you can decide to split them into pieces, conceivably. So it is 3 treasure worth. And if you want to like sell some for 1 treasure and have the other 2 treasures, like you can split that as you want, I think, given how Dawson has described what has been found. The other thing that comes up is I'm going to kind of read this entanglement to you, which is one of our mountain entanglements. Gas leak? What? So this year, the planting or harvest season is getting additional attention. So the question that we're going to put to the group is, what is being celebrated this year and why? And then how does your mountain home celebrate this? And we're going to make a clock for you to do celebrations to try and take advantage of that. If you can do that, A, it'll make people happy, but B, it will give everybody +1 supply for this coming year. So we're going to resolve it before we do expeditions or anything like that. Let's start with Dogriel. What is being celebrated this year? Like, what is important about this? Is it some sort of particular thing has come into bloom for the dwarves? Is it a particular festival that happens on the 5th year or the 6th year? Is it something that you found? What do you think it is that's being celebrated?
First child was born here. How's that?
Oh, that's cool.
First child is being born here. So the dwarves, I mean, it's been a few years that you've been here. The dwarves are not hugely fertile. They have children a very sparse number of years apart, and at most are twins. What Talon is striking about this birth, or unusual about this birth, or memorable about it? What is it doing for the community, or why are they invested in it beyond just the first child born here?
The parents were kind of assumed to be too old to have more kids. They had like 2 adult children who stayed behind, and did not expect to have more.
So there is a real sense that this is about old or ancient things that are giving forth new life. There's a real echo of that there.
Not that you say that in front of the mother, all right?
What talent do you think is like there's a harvest or growing or planting like component to this? What do you think that is like?
I
I
think,
kind of asking you because you are so invested in that farming side of things.
yeah, I think that traditionally, anytime a new child is born, there is a fruit tree planted to like commemorate that. And like by the time the child is walking and talking, the tree will be bearing fruit.
Nice. So there's a sort of a planting that goes on with that. So Grunheld, what is the home besides the planting of the fruit tree, besides just celebrating the birth? What is the mountain home doing to mark, acknowledge, promote this event? This is very much your wheelhouse. How do we use this to create that community that we want?
I think there is a sort of welcoming of the new child and welcoming of the new harvest combination to that, to where for the next month the parents every day they go to a different house or a different part of the city, and they are given food, and there is a little party to welcome the child. So every evening they go and introduce the child to a different family or a different neighborhood or a different person.
Excellent. So here is the thing: is we're going to go around and we're going to see what everyone is doing to promote these festivities, to promote these events here within the Mountain Home. We're going to have a 6-segment clock on this. Dazin, what is your contribution and or the contribution of your guild to this process?
So I think I am making an effigy for the cradle, or for for the nursery room, that is specifically linking to that family's ancestor spirits,
Okay.
on the idea that it will call on those spirits to come and visit with the new baby if they want to, like in their time, that sort of thing. Just gonna slightly haunt the nursery room. That's all.
Fair enough. So that feels like
Um,
like stone speak, or are you doing this
yeah,
with craft?
and if people are into it, I think the auspicious like lining up of the things, maybe I could carve it out of 1 worth of that like onyx and gem treasure.
Okay, you're gonna invest a treasure into it?
Yeah. So that will give you a additional result level, or raise the result level
Oh,
up by 1.
cool. I think this is.
That feels more like craft at that point, maybe in some ways.
Yeah, that's sort of what I was thinking.
Yeah.
It's definitely got that stone speak aspect to it, but he's really putting a lot of effort into, this is something that's going to be viewed by basically the whole settlement, are going to come by and see this baby at some point here in the next couple of weeks. This is big
Yeah.
and important.
Are you using anything from your supply to do this?
Oh, let me clear out my supply. But
By the way, I love that you went through and changed the font on your character sheet to be different from anybody else's.
it's special. Yeah, I like the bag of strange rocks and metals
Okay.
of different things that I'm working in to have it connect meaningfully to their family line, basically.
Okay. So let's have you roll 3 dice.
Oh, that's 3s.
So that will go up to a 4 to 5. So you'll get 2 ticks on the clock. This stuff is much harder to work with than you expected. And I do think that we see you like sweating over this and kind of exhausting yourself a little bit. And that kind of focused obsession that only you can get, that you probably could go and ask other people for help, but you've already gotten this far. You can do it. So yeah, let's we put 2 ticks on the clock there because this thing is such a majestic piece that you're working with. Dagriel, you are muted.
So, essentially, the child, I assume we allow the parents to name the child, right?
Absolutely.
So essentially what we do, my guild, is essentially we all write the stories of other dwarves of that same name. And like we write these great big epic stories of their lives and the things, and then we write sort of the beginning of this child's life, that they are the first of Carrick Minor, and it's in that sort of fancy font and all of that stuff. But we also have a big public fight for whose chapters go in what order, and which ones are the best, so that we have the public
Sure.
thing of people get to come and watch. So
Is
Can
this
do other.
firstborn child
Yes.
born identifiably a son or a daughter? Of course, the
Mm,
dwarves are flexible. They can choose their identity later on, but they are given a birth name.
mhm. Yeah, let's see here. How about a female?
Okay, and they do name their daughter Dorenheld after they go to Grunheld and ask for permission to name their firstborn daughter after her firstborn daughter. And they want to kind of honor that memory, since they know that Grunheld left her daughter behind here. So they will do that. What do you want to roll for your festival participation here?
Yeah. Well, let's see. There's the fabulous storytelling, so that would probably go under study or something like that, or maybe even convince. But in my heart of hearts, it's the skirmish that I really think is what we scholars all get behind.
All right. So that is 2 dice.
Yes. Let's see here. And I think, let's see here. I think this is worth using spy.
Okay, gonna mark a supply.
Yeah. Let's see here. Something showy. That will make it more fun. Of course, I can't get this to work ever, but let's see here. Yeah, how about like we decide that if you pick a hero that has any fighting, you have to use like whatever they did to do the fighting. And so I'm gonna go into this with like this story, like a wooden shield, but it's actually like a the lid off of a crock, because it's a story about a Dorenheld that like fended off their enemies, using like essentially just the things that she had in her hold at that time. And so she was using like the lid off the sauerkraut in order to strike the blows away and stuff like that. So that's what I will use.
Perfect.
So okay. And
3d6.
3d6. All right, and this is where it all goes to hell.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So here we go. Oh, 2 5s.
2 5. So that will mark 2 more ticks on the clock. Tolan, what are you doing to help set up these festivities, to encourage this as a founder?
I am helping the parents like build like a new fireplace, just things to make their lives easier, because like I said, they were not expecting to have a baby.
Right,
And
right.
they have a baby now. They have a lot more work. So I'm actually like helping them kind of make their house easier to live in.
Yeah. Fireplace, actually getting a cradle, since nobody had built one of those for here.
Right,
That's
yeah.
it. Yeah. So it feels like crafting.
Yeah, I think that's definitely crafting.
Okay.
How many? I have 1. Okay.
Are you bringing anything to bear on that, supply wise?
See. What have I got supply wise?
Certainly have your guild.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I like dragged my cousin into this. Actually,
Yeah.
I probably should clear that, and there we go. Just leave that on there. Yeah, I dragged my cousin the goat herd into this.
Okay. So 2 dice. 4
4.
and 1. So 2 ticks. I think it is, that maybe you get a couple extra laborers and maybe they kind of get in each other's way a little bit. They could be doing more. They are one of the things about the laborers is, they are overly ambitious when they go to a project, and some of what you have to do is drag them back. Well, we can do lintels here, and then we'll do this, and we'll put a mirror over the fireplace, and you have to just build the fireplace.
What if we put up a new wall right there? What if we just added on? Yeah.
Yeah, we could do
Uh-huh.
that. Build a third story onto this.
Yeah. This project keeps expanding and expanding.
So this celebration has gone off with a plume already, Grunheld. What are you going to do to contribute to this?
I think at the kind of culmination of it all, of them having, made the circuit, and we're kind of giving gifts and their house has been prepared, there'll be a kind of community get together. And everybody getting a chance to eat and drink. And Grunheld will excuse me one moment. I want to say how glorious it is. This child, the first child of our new home, named after my own daughter, for which I feel truly honored. Having something new in this ancient place shows that we are taking possession of what was lost. A child is our future. From the past, we build into the new. I was given something by my mother, a memory of old Garrick Minor that has always tempted me to come here, that has made this trip something that, in the twilight years of my life, I am so pleased to take part in. I now pass it to you, Darnheld. And I am going to pull up from my supplies a historical memento.
Nice.
Which will be a carving done in I think it's probably done in like a gemstone. So I think something probably not major expensive, but let's say something like cat's eye
Okay.
of the mountain itself.
Nice.
And as I move over, we will have many more children born in Garrick Minor. But you, my dear, will always be the first.
What do you want to roll for that?
I think host.
Okay, yeah. Throw yourself an extra die.
Okay. So rolling with 4. I got a 5.
Got 5. So you are with a 6-segment clock, you guys got 8 segments. So I think the base reward you're going to get is that during your expeditions this year, you will get an extra supply. And then you get another tick over. You will get an extra box of stress for these 2 expeditions. It will go away at the end of this season. And then the other thing, I think, with the second tick that's over this clock, everyone may mark a point of XP on whatever track it is that you rolled with. Does that sound fair? And that celebration certainly will echo in the halls. But I do think there is that point at which there is a little while later gathering of the founders there to talk about business. There are a few things. The head of the Physicians Guild are represented there. Look at what his name is again. Hemok.
Well, it's Dagriel.
No. Yeah, the head of the Healers Guild, Dagriel, goes to stand up. Hemok will say, so the things that I have on my notes, but there may be other things that we could speak of, but issues that return to us again. There is a question of those old ruins that we saw on the way that we have not investigated, that they will still be there, but it may be at some point that another group will go to look at them. There is the question of trade and the centaurs and the pinch that they are putting there. And that is an issue that may last for us, or it may simply be for this season. It's unclear. We have then as well the question of the monkeys that still remains as an outstanding issue. We also have concerns about the gnomes. There are other things. Is there other issues to bring to the table that should be considered? And Himaka will kind of sit down and kind of falls back into his NPC role at the back of the room.
It was fairly complete of the most pressing
I
issues.
fear
Yes.
we cannot just ignore the monkeys much longer.
Hmm.
What is your thought, Dagriel?
Because certainly they are a pest. It's because, but we're going to have to decide how we are going to treat this. Are we going to try to push them to another portion of the mountain, or are we going to try to begin eradicating them?
Well, I mean, you've given the hints that we might be looking at a greater problem than just little spider monkeys in the brewery. But we don't have a concept of that really yet, do we?
Not yet. I mean, well, you've
Okay.
seen the pictures, and you know that they're
Mhm.
smart, and that they seem to have a little more organization than you thought before.
We have seen bigger ones, but not like dwarf-sized ones, not giant ones.
Exactly. Yeah.
But the picture
I mean-
does suggest there's a really big one.
I mean, for our purposes, we need to just take them out of our living space. Surely we could get together enough effort from the community to drive them out, squash them, set the drakes upon them, make them no longer feel that they can assault our brewery of all things. There's few things more important than our brewery.
Would help.
It's an existential threat.
And I think Dagriel stops and says, well, the thing is that they are small, many of them, and though we can chase them away, they will come back unless we can find something that will ward them well. So, and we do not know what it is that they would find anathema, that they would wish to stay away from, but perhaps we could find something that we have no problem with that they do. A sound, a smell, I don't know, a song. I have heard of such things, perhaps magics of the stone.
That is a very good idea. If we can find something that they can't tolerate, but we can. What eats them?
The drakes.
Dragons. Yes, drakes.
But if there's a big one, then we need a really big drake, and that's a problem of its own.
If the things we saw, the picture, that leads us to think there is a greater problem. That is a singular threat.
And I will admit, it was dark when we were attacked, but we did encounter ones that were as big as us, and some of them bigger.
That would imply going down to where that nest is.
Some point we're going to have to. That was just on our way to some of the runes that we had a sense of.
The potentially your guild, the scholars, could find something that would make it untenable for them to be up here, but that does not solve the overarching problem. The question is, do we feel that we should delve down and solve that problem once and for all now?
If
I
they
think
are.
we have to eventually, but maybe we should. Maybe we should learn more about them first.
Yes. This
So
place is strange, and there's a possibility they are of the mountain or important to it. We should understand them. At the very least, any attempt to try and drive them out with mundane or magical means, we would need to know more.
I,
And that's, I'm sorry, Logo.
well, so in that case, it would seem that the expedition would be a group, armed and careful, exploring down in to try and find the nest and not fight them, but figure out more about them to allow you to come up with some means. Does that seem right?
That's what
Yeah.
it sounds like.
Okay.
I would say our second priority of things we're looking at, we can't continue to have trade interrupted. Perhaps we look into some diplomacy should we have opportunity with the centaurs or with our home.
Yeah. And I just thinking Dagril nods and says, my impression is that they will expect, what's the word for it? Is it fealty? Like they want us to be subjects.
I would imagine they will certainly want a toll for their bridge.
Tribute, yes.
I don't like the idea of accepting tribute. A toll is reasonable. Tribute, as you say, is subjugation, and we are free people. We are not part of their duchy.
But they can interfere with the comings and goings. So we have to decide how we negotiate. I don't think there's going to be any particularly easy approach to this.
Maybe they will be reasonable. Trade is good for
According
everyone.
to a next, there are limits to any reasonableness. That
So it would seem that the other expedition would be a diplomatic expedition to the centaurs.
yes,
Which one do you want to do first?
I think the monkeys, we agree, when we've got our full faculties amongst us.
all right, sure.
So you will all gather your things together. You have one extra supply. You're in good shape. You've got extra stress. Nothing can possibly go wrong. You are armed and yes, Sherry.
When you say we have one extra supply, do you mean we all have one extra supply?
That is what I mean.
Oh, so I could just get rid of this supply that I've already used. And then treat
Exactly.
it like I have 3.
Yes,
That sounds good to me.
that
I
is
am
the easiest
easily
way to handle it.
confused by counting.
All right.
All right.
But only one of you has one extra stress. No. No, everybody has one extra stress box for this year.
Which means that I could just undo one of my stress?
No.
Actually, so on the sheet where it has the little like stress override and supply override, if you put 10 in that yellow box next to stress override, it'll
Oh,
give you an extra box, and supply override, if you put a 4 next to it, it'll give you an extra supply.
Just make sure that you reset it back. That's the only thing.
never.
because it will go away at the end of this year.
The sheet's cool though.
That is a nice reminder, though, as compared to taking one off, because if you don't fill up Sherry, you
Right.
wouldn't have that extra one.
Mhm.
So tell me then, Dawson, what are you doing preparation wise? Is there anything I should know about you? What you're getting together, how you're getting ready for this descent?
See if I have anything particularly interesting. I think Dawson is gonna travel down to that new things and stuff clay pocket that we opened up last time. And I know we don't have a clayworks, but he's just like he's sort of testing out. He's gathering up a little bit of the clay there to work into some repairs on the golem form before he sends it out again.
Okay. So yeah, you can and work on that, get a sense of what the clay is like at that level. You know, different clays have different mineral contents, have different feels to them. Uh, uh, what are you doing to get ready, Dagriel?
I probably have done a extensive list of like monkey readings. That's right. And so essentially I have a sense of things that have been used previously to ward them away from other situations. And also to, yeah, monkey tomes. Everyone should have some. But essentially, and even like she reads like just like fairy tales and stuff where they've mentioned, you know, tricking monkeys and all of that stuff, just to get like some sense of different things to try. And sort of, I don't know, she has a set of different like sound making things and noise makers that like will keep on rat-a-tatting, and the sound of like she's very frustrated because there's clearly a thing of you could do like a lion's roar if you lived in one of the things, but these monkeys have never known lions, so she doesn't know what a predator sound would be for them. So it's that kind of thing, but she's brought all kinds of like little gadgets and vials full of vile smells and things like that to see if we can figure anything out.
That seems more than fair. What about you, Tolan?
After Dawson kind of hinted at it in our meeting, I think I should ask the mountain what it thinks about these monkeys.
Interesting. I think that is a roll.
I think so.
I think that's stone speak, right?
Yeah, that's stone speak.
I'll help you out with that.
That makes sense. Yes, you're good at stone. Yeah.
I'll give you an introduction to Brazabella, the ancestor
Yes.
ghost that I speak to a lot.
Perfect.
So I'll mark stress for that.
So roll with
Okay.
2 dice.
3.
That is a 3. So I think that you reach down in and the mountain opens your mind to something and it comes rolling through. It is not a monkey. It is something else that is there that comes and strikes at you, Tolan. And you are going to be dazed. Would you like to resist that?
Yeah, I should probably resist that. Dazed puts a dent in my most used area there. Uh, so okay. Um,
So your inside is 2, so roll 2 dice.
yep. 3.
3. So you're going to spend 3 stress to resist
Yep.
that dazed effect.
Ouch.
It shook you. Grunheld, what are you doing to get ready?
I am getting together the Hearth Guard. This is very much in their purview to sort of assist with, and we're going to do a bit of kind of training to look into this, and we're going to have each one of the Hearth Guard that is coming kind of train with one of the drakes. So we're kind of having them working with them. I imagine when they're young and small, they look a little like Lockheed from X-Men.
Right?
And trying to do a little bit of this idea of a little combined arms work between the drakes and the guard.
That seems more than fair. The group of you will gather yourselves together, take whichever guild people you wish, and you will descend down into the tunnels. And this is, as always, to start an expedition, a journey roll. Does someone wish to lead the journey?
I haven't yet.
Okay. So, Dagriel, in that case, what is your journey roll? It's 1 die, right?
1. Yeah.
Okay.
And this is a group roll, right?
So it's a group roll. So
Yep.
everybody rolls, and we'll see what stress people get based on take the highest. So, Dagriel, we'll have you roll first.
Okay. Here we go. 1d6. Everyone's favorite. A 6.
So that's a 6. So you're not taking any stress
from my own roll.
from your own roll. Dazin, would you make your journey roll?
Yes. I was gonna mark a few guild members, but I'll save that now.
Yeah. And Dagriel, don't forget to mark XP for
Ooh, okay.
leading the action.
I forgot. So I appreciate you reminding.
Whew, close, but not a 1.
And also mark
That's
a point of
2.
stress, Dagriel.
Okay.
Colin?
Mhm.
A 6. So we're doing well.
We critted on it.
That
Didn't
is
we?
not a crit, no.
Why is that not a crit?
Because it's 2 different people's 6s.
So
But
I don't know if it's in this game, but there are some Blades games that have like a crew move where you can do that.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's real. When it gets late in the game, it gets a little OP. And Grunheld. That is, I believe, a 3. So Dagriel, you will mark another point of stress.
Okay.
So the group of you will head down into these tunnels, trying to find where you can passages that have evidence that might lead you down to see where these things come from. And I think you will head back to those tunnels that you originally went through, where you saw those drawings that seem to be of the large monkey, and where you ran into those other monkeys as well. I'm going to do this here. So, can I have Poland roll me 3d6?
3d6. Okay. Six, 6, 5.
So, you'll make your way down into the bowels of this place, and it takes a while to get down there. Eventually, a lot of it is actually kind of going by smell until you will come out into a cavern, and you can tell that you are in the deeps. This is one of the deep places of Carrick Minor, but there are signs and marks of this having been a built place, though the state that it's in, you can't tell exactly what it was of. And you can see that there are bodies here. There was a battle here. There are dwarven bodies scattered everywhere, arms and armor, but also bodies of monkeys, skeletons in all of these things. And you will see that around the walls of this place and various ledges and things like that, there are those monkeys, those little monkeys. So you kind of up, kind of in a position looking down in. It's lit in some of the ways, the old dwarven sort of phosphine and things. These things are at the end of their life size, so everything's kind of flickery down here in the light of this. All of these monkeys are white furred, kind of albino. And you will see that there are some larger of these monkeys, again, dwarven sized, but only a handful of them. Not that many. But the thing that will strike your eye is the 30-foot tall monkey that is there, that is sleeping, that is huge and vile and kind of awful looking. And I will show you what it will look like when it wakes up.
Oh, let's not wake it up. I don't like that at all.
And I think, Tolan, you will realize that this is not a natural animal. This is an animal that has had a war spirit bound into it. And it is a wrong creature. It has had this spirit of conflict and fury and war bound into this body that has changed it over the years to make it what it is here. And I think you will see that branded on its forehead is that sigil of that dwarven household that you've seen. You rolled a critical success. None of these monkeys see or hear you. What do you want to do? I can't hear you.
Sleeping,
Okay.
I think that we're just gonna have to go with like tasty delights filled with stuff that will put them to sleep. The hope being that we can get that thing to stay asleep and then find it somehow and take care of it. That's my suggestion. Very quiet. I'm whispering it to you. It still seems too loud.
do know somebody who deals with spirits. What's their name? One of the new people. Nibale? Nibale?
Yeah. They are a kind of a shaman oracle, or more oracle than a shaman.
I have.
Some.
I was just say I have a playbook item that I haven't used before that maybe. So I have a dowsing rod. Help a
Mhm.
rune master feel in tune with the earth or detect anomalies. And I'm wondering if there is like if we could track down maybe where his corruption came from, if it's somewhere in the area.
It's not that he's corrupted, it's that somebody literally bound a fury spirit into this thing.
So this is like an intentional action.
Yes.
Gotcha. Thought he had like
And it
run across
clearly
something.
went very wrong, judging by the bodies spread across the floor of this place.
And now you can see why perhaps this was not the most popular family at the end of their combined nature time.
Is there a way to dismiss the spirit?
Not that we know of. And clearly the folks who were around when this was done more recently didn't seem to be able to do it. That would have been when expertise existed.
Or they didn't last long enough.
If it was done, it could be undone in some way, but I fear that that way would involve the rune on its, touching, changing it. Very close.
Isn't that just a family rune?
That is just a family rune, it looks like. It may
Oh,
have some other power
probably.
beyond that, but it might be. The thing you will know, Tolan, and I will mention this to you because this is research that you have specifically done. This is like what the human mages do.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Yeah. So they brought this, basically summoned the spirit into this giant monkey. I think I want to know. I think this is a good chance to use the new broom.
Okay.
I want to know how the other monkeys react to it, whether they are just terrified of it, or what's going on, what its connection is with them.
Absolutely. Yeah. What do you want to roll that with?
That is an excellent question. It might be study. It might be, I don't know. Might be scout, spotting clues, getting drop on one's prey,
Scout seems
hunting,
good.
ambushing. Yeah, I think that is, which is good for me because I have
Yeah, you got a couple of dice in that.
I'll help.
How are you helping?
Oh, I've got scouting too, so I will spot for them.
So mark a stress. Tolan, roll with 3 dice.
I've got an item you can use as well. I'm gonna mark a pre-chiseled runestone and pull out like a full-on old-fashioned hearing aid horn, like ear horn. And it's the shell echo rune, which if they were like sentients, it would help with translation, but it also lets you hear otherwise inaudible noises. So like you could pick up the tiniest noises from them from like across this place.
Oh, excellent.
So it feels to me like that is putting you in moving from desperate to just risky using that. Does that seem fair? Because it's a giant room.
Can stay further away that way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. All right. Oh wait. 3 2s.
3 2s. So it's
added
just
together, they make a 6.
it's just risky.
No, right?
I think that they are the scions of this thing. They are connected to this thing. Uh, uh, they are carrying out its wishes. One of the things you will realize, and this is what I'll give you information, is that this thing must not have a very good impression or a very good idea of what's going on up top, because these monkeys aren't giving it like a clear picture of what's going on. But I do think that you will realize that you probably need to go now, because this thing is kind of moving and rousing a little bit. Does that seem
definitely
fair?
start making gestures to theirs, like go, 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 go.
And I think we will see the group of you head back up, information in hand, successfully gained. The Hearthguard relieved as much as anything, in particular because they had to kind of keep those drakes held, because the drakes wanted to go in there and do their business. But you may mark a reputation as you go back and tell people in your hold kind of what's happened, and they are impressed with your sagacity at not attacking them. Let's take a break, and we'll come back and talk about second expeditions, that kind of thing. So the group will return back after this expedition, news in hand, knowing that what is going on. You have a couple of options. You'd still have some other things on the table, but you could essentially plan on maybe as a stopgap measure for the moment, doing a project to kind of block off some of the routes for the smaller monkeys to get up here. That could certainly keep things off for another year until you figure out how to deal with them. That's a possibility. There's also the possibility of a diplomatic mission to these humans to try and see what they know. And then you have the other things that you still currently have on the table.
The like blocking up tunnels, would that be an expedition or would that be a downtime project?
That would be a downtime project.
Okay.
I would say if we're going to go on any sort of expedition, it looks like Tolan and Dagriel could use some de-stressing. And we have lots of treasure, so we can do that.
But we can't do it till downtime.
We
Right.
flash back to downtime and spend money to do extra downtime actions retroactively.
Oh, I didn't know you could do that.
We've done it once before.
That might be a good idea. We have plenty of treasure, and it would be good to do a second expedition.
Yeah. Let's see. Where's the mechanic on that? 67.
Oh, look that up. Downtime activities, perform 2 downtimes. Additional downtime. Borrow aid. Do you know where that rule is in the book, Patrick? Is it under flashbacks?
I don't know if it's specifically there. That's just Blade's thing.
Oh.
So let me see if I can find the flashback rules. This.
I mean, it says, I mean, it does have in this game that you can pay treasure for an additional downtime action,
Right.
which that would be indulging.
Except that it's set in that particular favor. I just want to check and see what the mechanic is for flashback, because flashback traditionally costs
Yeah.
stress.
Mhm.
So I want to check exactly
Yeah.
how that gets managed there. So hang on 1 second. I just need to find the PDF. So I apologize, of course, because I just got this new machine. Everything is in different places than it
Oh,
usually
that,
is.
yeah.
I apologize.
I suppose the upbeat idea hope would be it would be like a 0 stress or a 1 stress action, thereby giving the flashback indulge a chance to do better than any cost.
Where's the Dark Mountain Home? Let me pull this up. And just let me search under flashbacks here real quick.
It's 67's their page.
Oh, and here we go. There is an example.
Oh, great.
Relevant. Under 1 stress, in order to have taken dwarven beer bread on the journey currently being undertaken, the Earthshaper flashes back and pays 1 treasure to take a downtime action to dig and complete an in-progress bakery.
Perfect. Okay.
So that's under the 1 stress. So
Yeah.
stress
So-
on treasure.
So pay a treasure, spend a stress, and you can get that downtime stress relief action. Do you want to do that, Tolan?
Yeah,
Okay.
I should probably do that.
So you've marked 1 stress, and go ahead and roll 2 dice.
Okay. Yeah, it's only 3, but that's
Still more
Better
than
than nothing.
enough.
Yeah.
Dagriel? You're muted.
Yes, I would love to do that.
So mark a stress, spend a treasure, and roll. Your lowest is 2 as well
Why is it my lowest? Isn't it?
for recovering stress.
Yeah, okay, so I rolled 2 dice is what
Yeah.
you were saying. Yes, I rolled a 4.
Yeah,
So-
not your lowest outcome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought he was saying. He
Oh,
goes,
no,
"Your
no.
lowest is 4 after I'd already rolled, and I'm like, what?
I've just decided that when you flash back, you only roll 2 dice and you take the lowest.
I knew how many dice I rolled. That was hi, silly. Okay. Got
Always with disad.
it. Mhm.
I played with that GM for a while, for a long time.
Oh.
Oh yeah, Sherry and I played with them. They were the worst. That was the game where every NPC was haughty and condescending to you.
Nice.
Yeah, it was.
Nice love a world full of punchable NPCs that
Oh,
I
yeah.
assume you would get punished for punching.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
So what do you want to do? Like Tolan, Dagger, what does that extra recovery look like? Like what have you done to get yourselves ready for this kind of thing, or be prepared to catch your breath, as it were?
Well, I think I had all of the scholars sort of on like all set to go.
Mhm.
like we had like gone over all of our opportunities and stuff like that. And then, essentially we have this triumphant brawl at the end to decide what were the best things to pack. If that makes any sense.
That sounds perfect. And
Fish
Colin?
Nina did particularly well in the
Yes.
brawls.
Colin, what about you?
I think while I was sort of going through stuff to gather supplies to help help that couple, fix up their house, I also like pocketed a few things that would be useful for say, making a metal familiar.
Excellent. So yeah, you will be working on getting that into place. Let's then cut to the founders talking again about what it is you want to undertake next.
I think you can see Grunheld is distinctly upset and shaken in a way probably you have not seen, maybe ever, and certainly since coming here. This thing is a threat that could overwhelm us all, and I have no knowledge of how to fight spirits, how to could we collapse the cavern on top of it? Can we send fire and explosives in to destroy it? How can we face this thing?
There
Like
are other
cowards.
options to explore before we collapse our floors underneath us.
Yeah. There's lots of
We have to-
things.
Find a way to drive that spirit out.
Or kill it when it can't fight back. I mean, it is encased in a body. The body is asleep or can't move. You can still expel it.
It has like a lot of body, though.
Yes. Agreed.
We could
What is
try to learn more about that family rune.
Uh,
Yeah, you've certainly seen that rune. It's been the marker. It's like a heraldic marker for the house around in here.
I'll give you all the notes I have on it.
We've noted it. It's often on the wall near the floor. Almost like you say, like you'd have to know to look for it.
We've said there are other options. What do you need to explore them? What resources can be put at your disposal to find how to do this?
Colin said that the human mages use a similar spirit binding thing. They might be able to cast it out as well. So we could confer with them.
They would see us. But this is a dire situation. If we feel that is our best option, then we must try it.
They seem to know how to deal with spirits like this. I'll speak to the channeler. I'll ride with the others, and but the mages probably have the most expertise.
Then a diplomatic mission to ask them.
Yes, the spirit is not of our sort, and if we tried to use magics against it, I fear it wouldn't be any less destructive than collapsing the mountain on it.
The number of these creatures that are there, they could overwhelm us at any time.
Unfortunately, they
Yeah,
haven't
I'm
so far.
less concerned about the big one than all of the little ones. If if they decided we were the enemy and they all decided to work against us,
Which was
Probably avoid-
everything and everyone. Then let us go and see if these humans can help us.
So with you gathering together for a expedition, a journey, diplomatic. I think you mentioned that, Tolan, that you would like to get Nabail to come with you.
Yeah, they seem to be the only dwarf who has experience with spirits other than ancestors.
And certainly, if you talk to your allies, Rengzu will offer to scout from the air to find you a path towards where their settlements are, towards a place where you can at least find a meeting point for them.
Perfect. Yes.
So who wants to lead the journey roll this time?
I haven't done a journey.
Okay. Dazin, what is your journey?
It's a one. But
That's fine. That's fine.
I am gonna pull in my my guild members
Okay.
as yeah, it's definitely Rylela, and I think now, like, if we're going out expeditioning, Fishbane Nina's there, and she's like, I think like she has the same sort of outdoors hat that Rylela has, just like a smaller goblin version.
Yeah. I like that.
She's a member of every guild, isn't she?
Yes.
Basically.
Honorary.
Kind of try them all out, right?
Exactly. How do you know what you want to be when you grow up?
So we've already got a 6 on the table from Dazin. Tolan? Three. So Dazin, you'll mark 1 stress. Grunheld? Look at that, a success. And Daggeril?
A 6.
Look at that, a success. So you will follow this path, find your way to the outskirts of where the sort of borderlands have been established. It is a relatively easy journey for you because your friends can kind of point out the ways. But there is that arrival kind of on someone else's doorstep a thing. I think you have some advantages here and some disadvantages. Tyler, would you roll me 2d6?
All righty. I'm rolling 2d6. 6 and a 4.
So when you kind of arrive and you've passed along these marker posts with the crystals for a while, and kind of eventually decide this is a ways in, and you'll walk a ways in and stop yourselves and wait, and not too long after you will see a group of people in more formal robes, an attire, and one of them has a large metal panther with them. Another one has a hound, and yet another one has sort of wrapped around from her waist on up to her shoulder a large metal serpent. And there is a pause there, a ways away from you, and there's clearly some conversation that goes on between them. And then one of them, the woman with the serpent, will make her way forward. And she will say, "Who are you?"
We are the founders of Carrick Biner. We are the embassy wishing to open diplomatic relations with you.
Thank you. We have no need for diplomatic relations with our neighbors, but your offer is appreciated, and we consider that a thoughtful gesture on your part.
We come because we need help. We seek your wisdom.
That is a different matter. All right, Tyler, you gotta bring Grunheld's speaking diplomacy to bear here to get them to listen to you and understand what's going on and be receptive.
All right. Well, it's either convince or host. Convince is charm, logic, argument. Host would be respecting others' culture, making connections with others. What do you think's applicable?
I think the latter, like what you were just describing there, of the two sounds right to me.
Okay. I will trying to think if giving them a
I'll help.
gift at the onset is a thing to be worthwhile.
It's certainly spend stress to give yourself an extra die, spend a gift to increase your effect.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to a small fine gift. To as we don't come as beggars. We as I present out this, and it is a carving done in metal filigree of the entryway. It's kind of that archway that is our door. A symbol that our door is open to friends.
Let's have you roll.
Did you say you were helping, Toland?
I will help, yes. I think the way I've helped is I've spent a lot of time kind of spying on them. So I've like
Yes.
told you everything I've observed about them.
All right. I'm rolling 4 dice. A 5. Roller's not loving me tonight.
So I think that this is a little exhausting. This talk, you don't have a lot of common ground. They are that kind of frustration that comes from they're kind of talking around you, talking the point. So I'm going to have you mark exhausted, unless you'd like to resist that.
I'll try and resist.
Okay.
Rolling 3 dice. Oh, well. I got a 6. And
Okay.
2 1s.
Fine. And there comes a point at which you kind of been talking about, like, you've been standing out here talking for a while. They haven't invited you in. They haven't done any of the niceties, anything like that. The other kind of standing back. The snake has just been watching. They've been kind of there. And there comes a point at which you kind of finally describe what is going on. And she goes, "Oh." And she kind of stops, she cuts everything short. She goes, "Oh, yes, okay, absolutely.
I yes.
We will help you."
Thank you.
Uh, and she'll turn around and turn to the others and says something in a language you don't understand. And they're like, you see them nodding, and one of them, the one with the panther, gets on the panther and rides off. And she says, "Why don't you and your companions come with me? We've been out here for a while. Let's go to a way station we have nearby. We'll sit. I'll have you give me a fuller sense of the details of all of this. Uh, uh, we will have food provided and so on, and we will sit and talk about the particulars of this thing. This is a very lovely object. Can you hold this for me?"
Yes,
She
yes,
hands it back to
yes.
you, and you see her like she's doing some things with her hands, like she's talking with her hands to another person, even as you're walking along. And they'll take you to what's clearly like a kind of way station that they've built as they've been expanding here. There are a couple of people there who don't have metal animals, who kind of look when you come in and are kind of surprised to see foreigners, outsiders. But she will speak to them again in this language. They will go and get, and food and wine is brought, and water, and set before you. Vegetarian. There's no meat served here at all. And then she'll sit, and she says, "Now, is this something that you did?"
No, it has remained while the mountain has been empty, and we have discovered it.
How long?
I please, my companions know of this more.
I will lean forward and I would say, I am Dagriel. I am of the Scholars Guild. And I will essentially say, the last that we heard from our brothers in Carrick Minor before the fall of Carrick Minor was such and such. And she'll give her all of the details of that sort of thing, and say, we have found the rune of what we believe is the clan that may have done this. And clearly there was a time where there was an ongoing battle. So this thing has fought dwarves before, and there were a lot of dead bodies.
There would be. So, oof, that's really bad if it's been that long.
Mhm. It is 30 feet tall. It is twisted.
Yeah, it would be, wouldn't it? So we have seen this sort of thing before. We are very familiar with it as an issue and a problem. We were not aware that anyone besides the people that we knew that used it had used this magic. It is destructive over the long term. It is an easy shortcut to power. It involves the summoning of spirits and placing them into living vessels to give them powers, to make them channelers of magic to enhance their abilities. But they become sympathetic to a particular spirit. And the more that you summon and resummon that spirit into this living vessel, it changes both the vessel and the spirit. The hubris is to believe that you will always be able to control and that these things will not change. We come from a place where the mages used this magic until it turned on them and slaughtered everyone. We use a similar magic, but we do not use living creatures. There may be a hubris in that. In the long run, we may discover that we are at fault as badly as them, but at the moment, we do not believe so. So, with your kind permission, I will gather a force of exorcists to enter into your abode. It will take us some time to prepare. It may not be until the next season that we can deal with this if it is as old as you say, but I will provide you with some protections to set up as barriers for keeping your living spaces safe for a time.
Okay. And we have told them about the little monkeys, right?
Yes,
Okay.
it should keep them back as well.
This is a tremendous kindness.
Well, this you're sitting on a conflagration, a disaster that could reach out further. So it behooves us to assist you in this. So New Year, 30 days after New Year is an auspicious time. We will come there then. One of my friends I've sent off to get warding materials, and I will have those prepared while you wait, and we'll send that back with you. You will send someone here to this meeting point where we first met you at New Year's next year, and you will meet, and then we will send our volunteers to go with you, with the understanding that you will protect them as they do their work. It may be dangerous for them, so we would like a guarantee of that you will act to try and preserve their safety.
Of course.
And you will not attempt to capture them or take them prisoner or any of that sort. Yes, so what we would like, we have need of, as you can imagine, metals, precious items of that sort. We would like a modest gift to recompense us for this work. We can negotiate that when it comes, and then the possibility of trade thereafter.
Of course. We would be very grateful. All of this help is more than we could have imagined.
I would, yes, I would guess so. Well then, they'll be back soon. So
Yeah.
go ahead and eat.
Did we get her name?
No.
And I say, pardon me, my name is Dagriel. May we have your name as well?
You may call me Weira.
Yes. So that I have the knowledge, when we would trade, it would come through this passage that we have just.
We will work out the details of trade once we've dealt with your monkey situation.
Yes, monkey situation.
But I'm sure we can work out something. I'm sure that we have things that you might wish, and we can discuss on the nature of those things.
Of course. Thank you. And I think I think you see Grunheld, who was scared shitless, kind of latching onto this hope that's being offered here.
She just stop. Like, she just stopped you because now I just want to make sure you're not planning on trying to discover and unlock the secrets of this magic for yourselves, right?
Absolutely not. No.
All
It
right
is
then.
not a worthy path for dwarven magic.
I just wanted to ask.
No.
Feels almost unbelievable to think that a dwarven clan could have done this in an established city. It's not right.
I will admit a certain amount of curiosity as to how they came to this magic and these powers.
Once we can clear this space, we may be able to get to the old libraries and stores and be able to tell you that. We can see signs and pieces of the existence of this clan and the other clans and clearly the struggles at the end, but we can't get to those things that would have been precious and deeper down.
All right. I think it would be easier if I go with you then. That way, if there are further wards that need to be made, then I can make them on the spot. You'll provide housing and food and shelter for me?
Absolutely.
All right.
You are most welcome.
All right. Well, when they come back with the plates, then we will leave and head back to your location.
Excellent.
And a little while later, the Panther guy comes back and hands her essentially their thin metal sheets. They're solid, and with some tools. And she takes those and she says to him, and like the other two here are like clearly are not cool with the idea of her leaving. But there's some back and forth, and eventually they back down, and she'll turn and go, okay, we should go now.
Should I keep carrying this? Give it to one of them?
Oh, yes, give that to one of them.
Oh, here you are.
And he like, okay. And she clearly says, take it back. It's very nice. Don't drop it. All right, then. Oh, I do not eat meat. Is that going to be an issue?
It should not be any issue. We have a heavy fungus diet.
Ah, good. I do like mushrooms.
Yes, those two. Okay.
And she will head back with you with these plates. And she will, well, like when you arrive, she will take them. She uses some kind of like punch and sketch thing to mark these plates, and then has you place them at different spots around the perimeter of this. And she says, and once they're up, tell everyone not to touch them. Especially don't. I know they wouldn't, but please, I almost hate to say this because it almost, I know that it may.
Yeah, please.
Make sure that they do not lick them.
Absolutely.
You just have to put them high enough.
That's probably the best way to do that. Just
Dawson will turn to the side. Now, Fishpanina, were you listening to that?
You see her vibrating.
I will send the hearth guard to go do a door-to-door sweep to let everyone know, don't mess with these, don't touch these, stay away from them.
And
Yeah, definitely don't lick them.
And you do see a few people that are like, why do they taste bad?
Horrible.
Oh,
And then they say, how horrible.
wait, when you mean what do you mean by
Do
that?
not be near them. No getting close to them.
and I think that you will essentially this kind of edges open a little bit of a kind of a trade for even for just this year. I think you're going to get two reputation for having kind of finally broken the blockade with these people. And I think just the kind of the trade back and forth here, sort of incidental things, is going to earn you another treasure.
Nice.
And I think that's a good place for us to stop. We will do the downtime and the end of year next time, with the idea that definitely one of the expeditions of the next year is escorting their team of exorcists down to deal with your monkey problem. And we'll get XP and all that next time as well. So let's do stars and wishes. Does that sound okay? Dazin.
This is neat and scary and strange and weird. Sherry, I liked the idea that it literally almost came to blows when Dawson and Tolan came back down from the top of the mountain and Dagriel found out that she hadn't gotten to go.
So cruel.
I consistently love all the permutations of that, like, pugilistic learning society. It's so weird and crazy. Ethan, a very small moment in particular that I loved was here at the end when she was like, and to be clear, none of you are trying to learn anything about this. And we're like, no, definitely not. Silence from Tolan. But more generally, I really enjoy how Tolan and Dazin have grown into very different magic users, very different sorts of mages. And they're starting, like, they've definitely found their own different magical obsessions. But I love that in that they're like constantly able to work with each other, and whenever one of them is doing something, the other has something like, oh, try this, and this will make it, just twist it a little. And I love that we constantly have that back and forth. And Tyler, it was neat to see Grunheld out of her depth for what, the first time ever. Like, it's obviously we've been surprised by things before, but it really was different to see a, like, feet washed out from under you sort of thing.
Like you'd seen the Balrog sleeping down in the basement.
Mm-hmm.
Any wishes, Dawson?
Yeah, I have, like, a long-term idea I've been thinking of and waiting on with Dawson, which, now that we have the clay pockets, is cool. I want him to start on a long-term project of figuring out how to let other people inhabit these created bodies like he does, and see how that's received and how that might start to change the mountain home in some way.
Interesting.
It's something I've had in mind for him for a while, and if we're going into a second arc, like, I really want to start pushing on that.
That's smart. Yeah, I like that.
I just want a mecca for fish binging.
Daggeril.
Mm, so it was another good session. Y'all are really good players. Again, lots of good moments from Talon, who just kind of very quietly goes about absolutely enjoying himself 100% in every moment he's in. I just really like that. It's kind of like when he saw the sky, he was wondering like maybe flying up would be pretty cool. And you know, just and like I don't want to go to sleep and all of those things. And just yeah, I mean everything was so good. And then when we were down there and you were freaked out, you're like, okay, I know the thing that I can do, and that's hear what they're saying, and you're all like, oh no, or hear what they're thinking about this thing, and it's just so good, just 100% in on Toland, and what a great character. Dazen, you are such a I think curmudgeon is the word, and so consistently so, and yet very quietly you're still building things up and doing all this stuff, but you're just the grumpiest while you're doing it. Just perfect notes every time. And Tyler Grunheld has so much heart, and I really enjoyed seeing that with the family, and great, you know, bringing in the new child, welcoming the new child, and then speaking with the dwarves who have joined us, and then when you're talking to the mages, being the one who's like, no, we need your help, and just being so real and genuine, and yeah, and full of dignity, and it's just lovely to see. So it's good. So I enjoyed all of you so much. Lol, you were fine. No, you're really good. And your monkey was really scary and awful.
Good.
Yeah. And yeah. And so let's see, do I have any wishes? More NPCs. That's all I ever need. So there you go. That's it.
Excellent. Tolan.
I mean, stars to you for like making this creepy monkey creature and tying it into various things that we've mentioned offhand throughout. I was, yeah, when you mentioned the rune, I was like, oh, okay, yes, everything makes sense now. Awesome. Yeah, I really liked Grunheld's reaction to that. Like, we actually got to see Grunheld just completely creeped out by something, and no, we're not going to deal with the centaurs. We are going to deal with this right now. We're going to fix this problem. And Talon's reaction versus Dazen's reaction, like, to the whole flying, climbing moon thing. I really like, I always like scenes with Dazen because I can just play off of just like kind of just do the opposite, but then but in a way that, yeah, like builds up something, and you know, like rather than arguing, it's like filling in for each other, and I really enjoy that. Like, it's not actually oppositional, it's just very different. and yes, Daggerel's like just anger at being left out and plotting revenge. I'm actually looking forward to seeing Daggerel's revenge on that.
Anything wishes wise?
Nothing in particular.
Okay.
There's a lot of stuff going on, and it's all interesting. So
That is fair. I'll put down more of the same. And Grunheld.
Coming in last, I have echoes of some things, but I'm going to start by saying, lol, cinematically, this session was really cool. And kind of I loved the mystical beauty of the going up the mountain. All the description of that was amazing. The falling, you could reach out and touch it. That it was so easy to see what you were showing there, and it was so well done. That whole ceremony was beautiful. And then to hit the depths of Monkey Hollow, and it was, I mean, truly terrifying. And then to go out and meet these humans, and it's such a neat thing when a GM goes, yes, I'll help. That makes you, I'm going to do what you want because there are reasons. And, you had there were logical reasons they were doing it, but it is so gratifying to, in this case, kind of come in there grovel, on bended knee to say, I need help, and have that realization and them be not huge dicks. Weird folk, but just in that first scene we see them, you already have given us a real impression of what they're like, and that's strong role play. That's really good GMing. This was such a good Tolan session. You were strong all the way through this. So many neat things. Watching you and Dozen going up, coming down, all of that was, both of you were phenomenal in it. The reactions you had, how you dealt with, the excitement of going down, or, oh no, I'll drink them both. So good. So solid. Seeing Dagriel being the scholar and say, okay, we have options. We have things we can do. Throughout this, there are ideas, there are ways we can go about this. You were constantly feeding out options. And that's, was really well, and it's so in character. And you've made such depths to both Dagriel and like the scholars themselves, but it is so fun to watch Dagriel. Just marvelous. This was a good session. This was we got a lot in one session.
Yeah.
It felt really nice. Wishes, I'm gonna say there's a move we've never used, and it seems like it's coming into a spot where we could have it. I wouldn't mind a little connection back to the old home. If they're cutting our trade ties with them, there is a move for, going and asking for help from them. But even if we're not asking for help from them, a communication back to say, hey, these folks are getting in between us. What do we think? What are we doing?
Yeah, no, I definitely wanted to have the potential to connect there. So that's a great idea. That's really smart. Yeah.
A little see what the old home is and what they think of what we've done over these years.
Excellent. Thank you all so much. I enjoyed running that session very much. I loved everybody's stuff. You guys give me opportunities to do great scenes. That whole going and see the ritual was really a nice opening for me there. So I dug that a lot. I am going to stop the recording.